Alright people, well gone. So we're there for another video. Yeah, another informative video. But before we start, you know, as usual, thank you for the subscribers, the comments, the likes and the shares. It almost reached 400, so I really appreciate that. Thank you for that. But yeah, in today's video, well, before we start it again too, I'll be doing a update video on the rebuild of Superman. I'll probably post it by later whenever I finish the editing, but I'll probably post it by later. So yeah, so into today's video, these are some tips and tricks, well, not really tips and tricks still, but some definitions of racing in the street. Alright, so the pot is the amount of money you put up for the race.
Let's go, let's just get it.
So whether it is 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, whether you and your teammates put together to make up the amount, or I mean, I've seen races go for 50,000, 100,000, 150,000. So basically the pot is how much you put up for that race. So, and they don't know, winner takes all. So that's what the pot is. Okay, so the other one now is the type of race, whether it is a flagger or by the use of flashlights. So a flagger, everyone knows, is the person that's in the, when the race is starting, they drop hands, 1, 2, 3, go, or whatever it is, and the flashlight is the person who does that. So those are the main two types of starting a race. Alright, so another point is checking the cars. So basically, whatever you guys set to run with, the setup. So if one person, for argument's sake, says that, alright, I'm running a B20 all motor car, regular cams or so, and then by the time you check the car, it's a B20 and nitrous with Pro 2 cams and, you know, the works.
First of all, it was an EK. It wasn't that gutted. They said they were going to give us the break. Now it's an EG with individuals. So Joelle got us out here thinking we're racing the EK, which is a little bit heavier.
So now the rules of the race have changed. So you have to always make sure that whatever you guys agreed to run is what the setup that's there. So a lot of persons will come and they change the setup or even change the car. So based upon the type of race, you can know, or based upon the setup that's there, you can know the handicap, or you can know whether or not you need to raise a pot. So always check the cars before you start the race. You know? Rules of the burnout. Usually you do a warm-up burnout before the race actually starts. So typically if you brake before the race starts during the burnout, you actually have an approximate half hour to fix the car before the race starts. If you cannot fix the car, then everybody just parts ways to go home because the race didn't happen. Or some persons will actually make you pay half, you know. So if you break the car during the warm-up burnout, then it's either you have a half hour to fix the car, or sometimes you pay half because the car can't race, and you know, everybody spending money to reach there, so you actually just pay half. Or another part of the burnout now, or wouldn't say part of the burnout, but when you're launching now, if you break after the launch when the race is about to start, then it's the full pay because you broke during the race, because technically that is during the race. So before the burn, when you're doing the first burnout, if you break, pay half, or whatever you guys agree to, whether pay half or you don't pay any at all. But once you're racing and you launch and the car breaks, then you pay the full amount. Alright, so another point is the flagger and the flashlight. So I'm going to explain both types, and with that is also associated with chase is a race and when chase is not a race. So alright, let's start with the flagger. The flagger is basically the regular person that stands up and sets off the race, ready, and drop hands and go. That's the flagger. So with the flagger now, a chase is a race. So once the first person, or once whoever leaves, there is usually, say if one person leaves and the other person stays, there is usually a 3 to 5 second window before the race is cancelled and they have to rerun. But if within that time now, one person leaves and the first person who left stops, and within the 3 to 5 seconds the other person moves off, then it is considered a race, because once the car rolls or even breaks traction, then it's considered a race. So if the first person move off and the person behind doesn't move as yet, and during that 3 to 5 seconds that person moves off, then it's considered a race. So the race would have to continue, have to go. But if 3 to 5 seconds passes and one person doesn't move, then the race has to be rerun. So when it comes to the flagger, chases the race, but then there's a window as to when the race is called off. So now with the flashlight, so the person with the flashlight now chases not a race with the flashlight. So when the person goes ready, ready, and hits the flashlight, you go. If one person leaves before the light comes on, then it's an automatic loss. You lose your money. If you leave before the light comes on, it's an automatic loss. If no one leaves, then it's fine. But once you leave before the light comes on, automatic loss. So that's the difference between a flagger and the flashlight. Remember, the flagger chases a race with the flagger, and with the flashlight chases not a race. I'm going to explain the brake now. What is a brake? A lot of persons hear the brake and get it confused with actually something being destroyed, no? But that's not what the brake is. The brake is actually, so you stipulate the rules of the race, right? And maybe one car has a higher power level than one car is faster, one car has a better advantage. So what the brake is, if you're using the flagger, well, with the brake, there's no flashlight with the brake basically, because it doesn't make any sense. Because what the brake does is you allow one person to leave when they feel like. So when the flagger comes and says ready, ready, and starts the race, no one has to move it until the person who has that advantage, that you give the advantage to move first, moves. So everyone's sitting at the line and it's ready, ready, go. Whenever that person who you said, all right, you can go first because you're a slower car. So if we can catch up or pass you, that's the handicap of the race. So the brake is basically giving you the advantage to leave first before the other person, and then that's so you know when to catch up or not. So that's what the brake is. Many persons think that the brake is when you destroy your car, but no. So when someone says, all right, I'll give you heads up race on the brake, it's basically two cars lined up together. When the flagger says ready, ready, go, then whenever the first person who has the brake leaves, then the other person chases. That's what the brake is. Or some person will say you have one on the brake. One on the brake means that it's one car length plus when you want to move off. So one on the brake, two on the brake, three on the brake. That's what the brake means. Whenever that person who has a handicap gets to move first, they move, then the other person chases. So people don't get it confused. The brake is not when you destroy a car. The brake is who moves off, who gets the advantage to move off first. Alright, so stay in your lane is basically self-explanatory. Stay in your lane. So you guys can be going down the track, and because your car is not in your lane, it's drifting from lane to lane, you can cause that person to race, or you can cause an accident. So even if the person is in front of you and you think you can pass, stay in the lane. Or for argument's sake, the person is behind you and there's no way for him to pass, but then because you cross lanes, he can always say that you cross lane, he was passing, so you lose the money. So once you cross the lane, once you don't stay in the lane, you automatically lose the money no matter what. So no matter how far in front you are, how far behind you are, well, I mean, if you're a good distance in front, then it can be compensated for. But once you're close by, or passing or not passing, but once you're in a close proximity, once you cross the lane, or even before, even when you just launch, just like in track and field.
Veronica Campbell-Brown in control. I do know what you mean. Oh my word, did she run out of the lane there? What's it? Oh my goodness.
Once you cross your lane, you automatically lose. So that's what it means. Stay in the lane, so you won't lose the race, you won't lose the money. So another point, very important one, have cameras. So the more cameras you have, the more angles you have, is better for you. Most persons, or some persons, kind of new trend to have an extra camera person in the car. I mean, it's not advisable, knowing that anything can happen. So it's not advisable to have someone in the car if you trust that person with your life and you trust yourself, then it's up to you. But have as much cameras on the car as possible. Have outside view, have one person at the beginning of the race, have one person in the middle of the race, have one person at the end of the race, have one person anywhere at all. You can put someone to get footage, especially at the finishing line, because if it's a close race, then you need to know who wins, because especially if money is on the line, then you need to know. So, and then if you have your GoPro cameras, you can mount them anywhere is best, so you can get a good angle of the race. Last one basically is to pay. You run the race and you lose, pay up. Once you agreed and everything that was settled from the beginning of the race to the end of the race happened and you lost, just pay. I don't see where the argument should be or where discussion should be. Like a lot of persons, because they thought they were cheated, they don't pay. But then if you went through everything and you know everything is as how you arrange it, then pay. But another important tip also is to try to arrange it like a week in advance, a race, or a couple of days in advance. And when you're arranging it, do it by either text message or voice notes, so that when you get to the location on the day, or when there's a discussion about what the handicaps are, so you can use it as a referral to know that, alright, you said this before and you said this, so you can't change it now because these were the rules that we agreed to from day one, so we're here now, you can't change it, you know. Or if you're going to change it, then we have to either up the pot or we have a handicap or so always try to have evidence and proof in text messages, writing, or voice notes or stuff like that, or even a call recording. So yeah, this is basically some tips on going to race on the street. A lot of persons might not agree with it, but it is happening, and so we can only try to keep as safe as possible. So until next time, I don't know. Quick side note, people, there's a post on my Instagram page. You can look through it, Street Creeper 6. I'll probably put the name down in the description below, but look through it. It's a competition for 300 plus subscribers, so I'm giving back to you guys along with Laserworks and Richcraft JA. So look in it, follow instructions, and you can win some prizes, you know.